Hey everybody, this is Grace, and you're going to be hearing the air conditioner off and on. This is Texas. It's 1:07 p.m. This is the earliest this season, I think, that it's gotten as hot as it is. It says it's 94 degrees Fahrenheit, yes. And it's June 24th, 2025. I'm going to repeat myself here. But it is hot. And I just came outside. I want to talk about something that triggered me. Adam did. And it's a good thing that I figured it out right before he and I had a he got home, basically, because we were going to have a confrontation. Not really. Let me explain. He did something that triggered some memories. Oh, my goodness. Some really bad memories. And it's... You know, he and I met and married over 40 years ago, going on 45, really. And he grew up in a country across the globe, and he English is not his first language. It's his second language. It's my first language. I grew up here in Texas, not in this area, just another area of Texas. But English was my first language. Well, when he and I met and married when I was 18, he's a little older than I. Never say his age. That's his business. So, yeah, we had it kind of rough. Well, when we met. His cousins, one set of his cousins, that whole family, they're close to that whole family too. They all grew up, you know, his family and their family all grew up in the same house. In their country, and they're real close, okay? And, well, the first one I met was a female cousin about our age, you know, about her age is between mine and his, and her husband, who grew up, I think, in Texas, and he grew up in Texas. He's not from that country. He's from my ethnic group, and it's two different ethnic groups. Anyway, as it is, you know, I'm saying all this extra stuff for a purpose. But when I met her, she just, it's as though she wouldn't even look at my face. And later on, I mean, I had more, you know, being around her, and she's friendly, you know, type person, but nothing was ever right with that. Nothing was ever right with to jump ahead with his side of the family, their side of the family. Nobody from that he would meet or he knew before me. None of them. It was ever right. They all basically acted as though I was insignificant, and I was only 18. I was young. I was naive. I had never experienced something like this. Like when the common thing, you know, courtesy, just common part of the culture. You meet somebody, you introduce, you know, the person who's with you, or you know, something like that. Like, you know, he and I were married. He would introduce, this is my wife, and say my name. But what they would do, people, all of them, from all of them, I had never met one that did not, is they would speak their language, even though they all spoke English, and other people were there who only spoke English, did not speak their language. And I mean, you wouldn't believe how many times I got mad at people who did not speak their language, that was there for whatever, like a wedding, or, you know, a party or something, you know, dinner, whatever. They would get angry too, and say, look, you know, we all speak in English, you know. Actually, I don't think anybody said that at the meal or anything. But you know, later on, yeah. You know, what is this? You know, somebody told me, why do they do this? Another person, it was done, and she looked at me like, what the heck, you know? Different times over all these 40-something years. And that's what they do. And Adam told me that they believe that if they don't speak their native language with one another, that they're insulting one another. I said, well, what you're doing instead is insulting all of us. Oh, no. They always protect that. Well, here's the thing. Adam has never been, seriously, Adam and I are two totally different people. I mean, seriously. We are different as night and day. And my master's degree is in sociology. So I pay attention, and my degrees are in psychology and sociology. So I pay attention to, what goes on between humans. And he does not. He does not care to understand social, anything that's social. He does not care. It's whatever, is happening at the moment. And I don't know if I'd call him a follower. He just follows what everybody else is doing. But he's not going to put much effort into it to think it through. Seriously, think that through. All of you speak English. Here it is a wedding, and you're going to speak a different language than everybody else, just so all of your people from, and they will be new to one another. It's not like they were all friends. Some of them would be, but most of them were strangers. These strangers are more important than your spouses, your family. What the, But, and I also saw one of his, she became later on, they got married. Well, Adam was not invited to as far as I remember, neither one of us were invited to their wedding or anything. And when she was from Texas too, she was in my ethnic group, a few years older, a couple, 2, 3, I don't know. And she was a little odd duck though. But when we were going to their house and we would have met her, she stayed in one other room and never came out. I mean, I think finally at some point she came out, but then she went right back in there. Like, she did not want to have anything to do with us. And I'm like, what is wrong with this family? I mean, I'm talking over all these years. The stuff I've seen. Luckily, none of them live near us, just like none of my family lived near. But there's some of them live in, there's 2 different countries, one of them being Canada. But yeah, then there's our home country of origin. But, and then here, some live, but they don't live anywhere near. Like I said, none of the people in his family and my family live anywhere near. Yeah, so. But when they do come around, it is so unbelievable. How horrible they are. In that kind of respect. They don't respect anybody. And even people like his friends, or he met some new people, the way that they would treat me is like I am insignificant. And not just the language deal. Like, they don't even acknowledge my presence. Like, they don't even look at me at all. Male, female, no, they're not going to look at me. And one of them, I'm going to tell a story about one of them. I'm going to get my, this needs to have some air on it. So it was probably around 20 to 25 years ago, I don't know. Adam and I went to, there was a mall here, they've taken it down now. New place there now. But we went to a little mall, it was an old mall. And one of the restaurants, we went to get something to eat, one of the restaurants there, and it had this couple, married couple, and it was our first time, and as it turned out, they were from the same country as Adam, but they were just different ethnic groups. And I think that country has 2 ethnic groups. That's it. And but they also, the other one, they spoke a different language, but their main language was the same. Okay. So, but I don't speak either one. Okay, I speak English. They did too. So they knew 3 languages. Okay. But so Adam and I met him, and it was again that whole thing. I mean, I don't remember too much, but about them. But me just meeting people, it was so awkward because of the way that they would do that. And one of them, they had a party one time. A dinner party. It was a lot of people, and I went to it. He went to it, and they spoke the different language. I'm just sitting there, and Adam would say, "Why don't you talk to anybody?" I said, "Because you're all speaking this language, totally ignoring me." He just, He just can't seem to think, seriously, none of them seem to think enough about the other people. And that's how they saw us, I believe. Those are others. Those aren't part of us. Those are others. Still, you don't treat others like they're that insignificant. I'm serious. There were other people there too. I'm fairly certain. Yeah. That only spoke English, just didn't speak that language, and they all spoke English. I mean, how difficult can that be? You speak English on a regular basis. There are people here that only speak English, don't speak your language. Why are you being rude to them? You're significant others. Everybody, there was somebody's significant other. It was just unbelievable. And, I mean, nothing that could be said, that I have ever said, nothing, no kind of logic behind what I said, an emotion behind what I said. None of it made any difference. And I'm pretty sure the same thing with them. None of it made any difference. They were going to do what they were going to do, period. Okay, period. Unbelievable how strong they were on that. Well, and that's not all. No, that married couple there. One time, I don't know what. See, one of the things, they don't look at me. They wouldn't like acknowledge I existed. That they really didn't know what I looked like. Okay, I mean, I have neighbors on one side. I have only seen the wife once up front in person, and she did a major change in her appearance. I mean, from what I've heard, she lost a lot of weight and all this stuff, and she does look different from a distance. But it's always been from a distance, except for that one time, and all these over 20, like 25 years, 20, however many. One time. And I probably would not recognize her in the grocery store. Seriously, everything would have to be from a distance. Because I am not either, but she's not, all that coming outside. She parks inside the garage. She's never outside. I used to be, but then these little bugs, chigger bugs, they call them, Chigger, chiggers. They just attack me on my feet, and I'm highly allergic. So I don't get out in the grass or anything to work like I used to on my garden and all. So I used to have a vegetable garden in back, a huge one, and don't anymore. Anyway, so there are people I wouldn't recognize, because it's not because I don't want to know them, it's just that I don't. Well, I would be at their freaking parties, their dinner parties, sitting right there at the table with them. I wasn't pushed over to the kids' table. I was sitting right there with them. I mean, I am not an invisible type person. I'm not a loud person. I'm just a tall woman. I call myself a gentle giant. So people just don't miss me. I mean, you're going to see me. You're going to see me, But this guy, that married couple, they had come over to our house, our home. And we were having, dinner and all this. And then I went into, they were doing something, and I was working. I don't remember. I think they just showed up or something, and I was working on something, whatever it was. I went to the front room, which used to be, one of the front rooms used to be the office. It's not the office now, but I changed it to a different room, but the office. And it was my office. And I was sitting there, and this guy, the husband, just walked right in. And I look at him, like, who the crap you think you are? There's a limit. And he just walked in and he said, well, this is an awful nice setting for the maid. Seriously. I am really good at acting like a mature adult. I really am a mature adult. I don't take the bait. Don't tend to. Well, with some people I do. But I don't tend to with especially people who are really rather insignificant to me. that guy was rather insignificant to me. You know, he wanted to treat me like I was insignificant to him. No, you're really insignificant to me. Okay. And he was. They're just being rude. I'm not being rude. You know, I'd go and I'd meet and, you know, go to their parties and stuff like this and say hello and try to speak. Then they immediately, they shut everybody, not just me now, not just me. Anybody who didn't speak their language, they were shut down. You know, I'd go and have conversations with the people who spoke English. You know, I'm not going to be rude to anybody. They were being rude. You see the difference? So they're insignificant to me. People who are like that, who are rude, they're insignificant. They made themselves insignificant. The rest of us did not. All right. It was they who did. Anyway, so he did that, and after he left, they left. I told Adam what he said. I said, "Did you actually tell him that I am the maid?" And he said, "Oh," he got real angry. He said, "Of course I didn't. You know, I would never do such a thing," which I didn't think he would. But it made me wonder, why would? I mean, like I said, all these times they just switch to their language, and they see anybody as insignificant. We used to have dinner parties, and it would be more than usually 2 people or whatever. But to be made to feel insignificant, and you're just the maid in your own home by people like that, I don't think we've ever seen them again since then. I think one time they tried to come just to drop by, or they did, and I left the house and went for a walk and all this stuff, and I said, screw this, I'm not dealing with pieces of pieces of crap like that. I'll go for a walk. I think he got rid of them quickly. But I don't think we've never seen him since. We haven't had anything to do with him, really. Oh, and should add to that, Adam said back then, he said that guy was just always like that. He was always trying to start trouble with people. That he just enjoyed it, causing problems and all that. I still to this day don't really trust the whole situation, because something was wrong, something was off. But that's them. They're off. They're off. And I've had plenty of experiences with people from his country, his ethnic group, how they treat anybody they see as outsiders. I should have said others. Well, I said others, but outsiders. They just don't. They don't include them in. They just are so rude to them, and it's not, like I said, not just me. I've seen it happen to other people, and in all these years. And it's not like I'm constantly having communication with any. It's not. It's really not. It's few and far between, but still, it's been enough. It's been too much, and that stuff really. I don't know. I'm at a point in my life where I have a little filter. Seriously, I don't know. Like I said, then I didn't take the bait, and but I'd say now I wouldn't even consider it as take the bait, as to put them in their place. Really, but see, I don't want to be like that. That's just that they are really insignificant. People like that. But then I think about other people, and maybe there should be a strong person who stands up to them and shamefaces them in front of their whole group. Seriously, somebody. It's like somebody needs to take a stance. And I think a lot of times there were people who would, but they would not care. It was simply that. They did not care. Everybody else, all these outsiders, they were insignificant to them. All that mattered was them and their culture and their thing. And trust me when I say, it's over 40 years now of being around people who really think that it's all about their culture. And whenever I am, it's like I said, luckily it's not all that often. But having, like, it's kind of a bit like your culture is taken away from you. You know, when anybody, not I say you, I mean me, but when, you know, somebody's culture is taken away because it's made by them, to them, and they make it people well aware of it, is that the other cultures are insignificant. They're insignificant. Nobody else is playing the insignificant game. Okay, their intention is not to do so, to make it this way. Everybody else is speaking the same language, English. We all speak English. They all speak English. But no, they don't want to. They're going to make everybody else insignificant. And the last time I had to deal with this, I'm pretty sure the woman, it was one of Adam's brother's girlfriend, and she speaks English, but she also speaks Spanish. I speak very little Spanish, and I speak English. I'm Texan, so I've been around a lot of Spanish, but I don't speak it enough to hold a long conversation, though. No, but and she's rather histrionic too. I'm not, to say too, but she's a bit histrionic. She likes to be the center of attention, and boy, whenever they started speaking their language in front of her, and not English, their language of origin, and not English, and I'm sitting with her, I guess it was the first time that she had to deal with that, and she was livid, you know, and how dare they? And so she called somebody on her phone who spoke Spanish and started speaking Spanish to them, and I was thinking, thumbs up. Really, I think the games like that are pathetic, and they're for petty people. I just don't condone anything like that. Not really, but at the same time, there's a spirit there. You know, that something, this is not going to change unless somebody, you know, puts it up right there in front of their faces. This is wrong. This is rude. It's inappropriate. It's evil. Because some of it seems so evil. For somebody to act as though you don't even exist. And his family, I mean, his family, anybody he's run across from his country, they are like that. And I'm not living my life for people to treat me as though I am insignificant. But I have seen that. Because as I've made videos about, that I've been around people who are histrionic since I was born. You know, since I was born. And I was born into it. I'm the total opposite. But seeing them, they make sure that it's all about them. Some would say narcissistic. No, these are histrionics. These are drama queens, drama kings. I don't mean girls, I don't mean boys. You know, they gotta be, look at me. And they don't care if it's negative attention, positive attention, as long as you're getting attention. And those who it's negative, they'll turn it around and play the victim, or they'll just say, oh, they're all haters. Same thing. But, you know, they'll all do the same thing, but pretty much. And, but they make other people insignificant in their own way. You know, you can only be the center of attention for a few seconds, maybe a few minutes, if it's something big, but then it has to come back to them, you know. Each one, you know, look at me, that kind of thing. And they laugh like, you know, they cackle. They don't laugh very loud, rude, obnoxious. Their look is obnoxious. Their voices are obnoxiously loud and just obnoxious. The things they say to get that attention, oh my goodness. So I've been around that. So on both sides, you know, I've been treated like I'm insignificant. And then, like I said, people like that to me are insignificant. I'm not playing an insignificant game. But when it comes down to it, you're not making yourself important to me. You're not making yourself, you as in them, you know, they're not making themselves in any way significant. And the more attention they try to draw to themselves, you know, the ones that are more histrionic, the less the less there is of why I would want to, you know, have anything to do with them. It's getting busy behind me here. Okay, there's so much more to this, but I just counted up how many minutes it is, and I'm like, well, I'm going to have to do that on a different video. But what triggered me, and it has to do, basically, a short version, is that it has to do with food. Imagine, they only want to speak their own language, their language of origin. Imagine what the food is at, dinner parties. There were a lot of people there. It was a big long table. A lot of people there. People, different ethnic groups. And it would always be, from their country of origin, which you can't really say. I can, say, okay, people coming there probably know it, this kind of thing. But the food is awful. I'm going to get down to it. And of course, they love their food. So they love it. I'm not telling them not to eat it. That's their business. They can eat it. But I think they probably know that other people don't like to eat mush. And I think they probably know that other people, especially like it was the ones that ran the restaurant that, that's not, they didn't make that food. It wasn't that food. But, like some of it, and I know I'm being rude. I know it's awful food. I'm sorry. They burned whenever his niece was here and his sister was here years before, which is her mother. Oh, and his mother, years before that, any of them, any time they're ever around in my home, they always cook their food, and like the last time I started noticing, they burn the pots because they cook them like 12, 14 hours a day in one day, whatever it is they're cooking. If it involves meat, it's going to be cooked for about 14 hours, and they burn the pot, like I said. Pots aren't made to be, I could show you how many pots I have burned. And the food is awful. Think of this, one of the meals smells like, every time it's cooked, smells like somebody is making pancake syrup. Yeah, that's what it smells like. Like a whole pot, big pot of pancake syrup. And that's what's going to be the meal. That's what it smells like. What it looks like, if I remember correctly, because I stay away from eating their food, I'm not going to get sick. Oh, no, not doing it. I'm not a martyr for some cause. And by the way, getting inside the kitchen to cook myself something or something for other people, no, not going to happen. They're going to be right there. Have all 4 burners going, the oven going, whatever, everything's going to be going. No, you don't get any room. And it's my kitchen. It's mine and Adam's, but yeah. They're so rude. They're so bad. But anyway, I don't want to be around it. Over the years, it didn't take me too long. Don't have time for this petty crap. And so just stay away from it. I understand why the other woman, one of his brother's wives that was from Texas, my ethnic group, why she just didn't come out. I don't want to be around them either. When they acting like this, when there are other ones, But anyway, their food, that one that smelled like pancake syrup. If I remember correctly, there are 2 meals, and they both kind of look the same. And I'm going to say something pretty gross. Fair warning. It's pretty gross. It looks basically like, it basically looks like, okay, fair warning, it's gross. A dog threw up. That's basically it. And if it's one of them, looks like a bunch of leaves. So like a dog ate some grass. You know how dogs sometimes do that when they're not feeling well, and then they throw up. Okay, I'm serious. That's what it looks like. So don't imagine it. Do not imagine any of this. The look and the smell, and this is supposed to be edible. somebody's supposed to want to eat it. And also, sometimes they cook with it animal parts that I do not know anybody else in the world. Nobody else cooks those parts. And those animals, I mean, they just don't cook those parts with any animals. Okay? And then the type of animals. Okay, there's some country people, you know, I'd heard of. One of my friends, she got associated with a really country guy when she was young. She married him, actually, when she was 18, I think. And he was very country, and she had gotten used to it, but they didn't last long. So, but no, they don't even cook that. And I just recently, for my birthday, you know, Adam said what I want. I got other things. I still need to order some of it. But one of them was I wanted a microwave because his niece, I think that's what she did, put some of that's awful. I mean, just awful body parts, you know, to reheat it in the microwave. And there's no getting that stench out of the microwave. The microwave has an odor that will not come out because of it. And she had a microwave because she was back here to pack stuff and then go back to her country, and that she had left here. And it was, you know, like 2 weeks again or something, because he had kicked her out because she was so rude to me. Yeah, I'm serious. She was so rude to me. She was so rude to him. She got kicked out of the school, her university. She got kicked out of her apartment. She got kicked out of her job. She got kicked out a lot. She's kicked out of this country. So, anyway, she's 31. She had a microwave and he brought it in, and I don't know whether she had stuck the food in there too after she was here or what, but one time I opened it up after I opened up ours, and it stunk so bad. And I mean, we'd had that for a while, and then opened up hers to try to heat something up, and it stunk the same stench. You know, so I am not using anything that smells like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say. You know, so horrible. But you know, I said I wasn't going to go on this video. I got on a roll. But anyway, I got my own microwave, and it's just Adam and I right now. I mean, that doesn't always last very long, but so nobody gets to use my microwave ever. Period. He doesn't get to use it. So no. Because if you've ever gone without cooking with a microwave, if you're used to every once in a while heating stuff up at least, and you can't do it for, it was probably like 6 months or so. Well, even longer than 6 months. Anyway, I'm wrapping this up. Talk to you on another video. Bye.